Okay, so last Friday they were calling a Firmware Friday. It was the first push from Onewheel for an update to your GT. It takes about 5 minutes. You have to have at least 50% battery or plug it in while you do it, and then you're off to the races. It's updated. It was updating some of the things, and I'm not going to include all of them, but the Footpad sensor issue, it updates that. It updates pushback. It updates flow, and then it does some other things in the other settings. But those are the big 3 things for me that stood out. Couldn't ride the day it came out on Friday because it was pouring rain out here. Waited till Saturday, got on the thing, and my first thing was I wanted to test top speed. I wanted to hit it. Did you know there is a 30 I think they're calling it, they want to be the 30 club members or 30 and over club member. Have you heard about this online? No. Anybody in here? Okay,
like on Onewheel? Well, actually, someone just asked me to do 20 miles per hour on the GT, but what did I hit the first time? It's 18?
18, I think,
oh, yeah.
maybe.
I'll do it for you.
Okay, so there is a 30 and over club for the GT hitting 30 miles an hour. I'm not.
Oh, so it's not 30 years and older.
No, it's hitting 30 miles an hour.
I was like, that's confusing.
I don't think I'm going to try to attempt that. Here's what happened with me with the update. Pushback is very different. It's a lot like the XR. I didn't expect that when I got on the update. So maybe this is a warning to all of you that potentially will be getting boards and need to update it. Pushback was much like the pint in the first version that I had. So it's harsh. Like you rode pretty much like this the entire time in pushback. That if you see my little one wheel here, that's pushback on a pint. The XR is just subtle. It's just soft. It's like just okay. So I get on the GT and they've added a beep now when you are going to experience pushback. And I'm going for I'm like I think I can get 23.
How loud is said beep?
Loud enough you can hear it. It would be loud enough to be annoying to people on a group ride.
What if I'm wearing headphones?
Not going to hear it by any chance. But people around you are going to be super annoyed with you because it's just going to be a...
Yeah, that's the next question I have. How long is the beep?
Just as long as you're in pushback, it buzzes.
Oh, it keeps going. I didn't know
you
that.
can toggle it off.
That's cool.
You can take it off if you want. It's an option in there. So I was expecting that hard pushback. I didn't get it. And all of a sudden, the front of my nose of the board just, bam, smacks the ground. And I do not know how I survived it, but I pulled back very rapidly, so I did not have to see if I was going to run it out or eat pavement. My heart was racing, and I was good. I just wasn't expecting that light of pushback now on the GT. Now that I know it, I'm aware of it, I look out for it. It's the same when you go from a pint to the XR. I know the difference. I just wasn't expecting that, so I was taken aback. It was buzz. I kept going, and then it was the front of the nose just grinded. So
I can't believe you corrected yourself.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I had all the kids with me.
That's terrifying.
My heart was racing. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Buzz is there, or the beep. You can take it off. The pushback, 9-day difference. And then I also, for the first time in owning my GT, when I went to just slow down, I wasn't really coming to a stop, the GT deactivated. And I was like, what? That's never happened before. And then I realized that the Footpad sensor has been updated to be less sensitive, which should eliminate ghosting. So they have figured it out in production and in the operating system.
It's pretty impressive.
It is. It is. I think, when Kyle talked a couple weeks ago, he talks about is the way they're manufacturing the Footpad, and they must have also figured out they can do some tweaking in some firmware to make it safer. So now the front foot pad is not as sensitive. So even when you go to do your normal heel lifting to stop it, it disengages a lot slower. It was a lot quicker, whereas before it took a lot longer to disengage. I'd hold my heel up for what felt like a long time as you're waiting for it to shut off, and eventually you shut off. Now it's the minute your heel comes off, deactivates, and it stops. It feels like the intelligent braking system in there is a little bit more harder, is the best way I could say it as well. I don't have a technical term for it, but that's different as well in it. And then one of my favorite is flow. I love flow as a setting in my GT. and they brought it into a relevant riding place. I loved it, but you lost top-end speed and a little bit more of that torque. It's all unlocked in flow now, so you get that really flowy feel, those vibes that you really want while riding your one wheel. I think it feels the most like surfing and snowboarding, in my opinion, that Apex and Highline had. Apex being the most vicious of, or the most unlocked portion of your board. It's really, if you're going to just ride on pavement, that's a great feature, but flow has been nice. I didn't really mess around with Highline before, so I can't really speak to that, but flow, I love what they did with flow. I can go top-end speed a little bit more without pushback. It's just, they did really well. A lot of people are there's always going to be negatives to updates, but people were like, oh, you still no customization. I think that's going to come. I mean, it's sitting there. Yeah, it's sitting in the app saying that you'll be able to do it at some point. I don't think this is the last firmware update that we're going to have.
How is the tail dragging on the new update?
Oh, yeah, they did fix that. Funny you asked that.
Thank you. It was my question. It was an original, not
EJ. Oh, that's a Lily question?
EJ Rosario's question by any means. No, it was not me. What's tail dragging?
We're the back end of the one wheel, which we should just go to it. Okay, remember last week we talked about, and this will illustrate my point. Last week we talked about building a teeter-totter. This is the video that inspired from Berm Peak. It's a mountain bike builder. This was his rendition of a teeter-totter right here. This thing is ginormous. It's got to be, I don't know, that's got to be, I got to say it's 16, 20 feet long. Look at that thing. It's ginormous. So we saw that on an episode. I was like, I got to build one of those. That is a great YouTube channel, by the way, Berm Peak. My family and I love watching it. It's enjoyable, and it teaches us how to build things as we are building things in our trails, which we have a video here to start. You're going to really get to see it coming alive. I went moments before going live today and rode through our trails. It's still a little sloppy, but you can start to see where our features are being placed. We have to level things and make them a little bit more rideable, but you can kind of get the idea. So we built a teeter-totter. You're going to get to see the teeter-totter, I think, here as we ride through. There's the teeter-totter built for one wheels. There it is to the left. Then you come over here. This is the pump track. We have to level it out, so it's not rideable yet. We're just moving things in. And then this is the largest berm I've ever seen.
Much fun.
It's not finished yet. You'll see at the end here where it is. We've got about 20 more feet to go. We got to add on another 8-foot section down there, and then it's going to be ready to go. So that's information that I'm giving you to talk about this. Before the GT firmware update, I rode and tested the teeter-totter. Now, here is that footage of that said test on the old firmware. It will give you an indication of what this person's asking. Now, we slowed it down for your enjoyment so you don't miss all of the excitement here. It's just been built. I'm testing it. Teeter-totter falls to the ground, and the GT tail just hits
and there
back
he goes.
And bam, straight to hip.
Ouch.
And yes, if you're asking, was I sore?
On your hip and your butt.
Yep, my hip is. I'm moving around like, yep, my hip is still sore. My wrist is still sore.
You hit hard.
Don't get on to me about I need to wear pads and stuff. It's just like when you build that stuff, I'm not going to get suited up. The only thing I might do in the future is put wrist guards on because
someone said we should build jumps. Can we build jumps?
We're on it. We have some jump ideas.
Yay.
I think we're going to call it a banana cannon is what we're going for.
Have we taken pints on any of those yet? Yes.
Yes, the kids ride pints. We have footage of all that. Let me answer the question. This is a long setup to the question. Tail drag. You can see the tail drug right there because I was going downhill, and the problem with the GT was the tail would drag immediately. It would hit the ground as you tried to brake. I don't know why it would do that, but it's definitely been gone. As I've rode some hilly trails, the tail is not dragging as much. It still goes down. It's just not hitting the ground. I do have footage of me then making the GT over the teeter-totter. We modified the teeter-totter, but also the firmware, definitely game changer on it. Here's that footage so you can see the difference in getting up and over the teeter-totter. I did move it to this grass because I was like, if I'm eating it here, I ain't trying to fall on pavement again. But this is my attempt in later on, new firmware, the teeter-totter, all of those good things. I think the boys can't find it right now. It's there. We already watched it earlier, but that's okay. We don't have the successful ride. Maybe I didn't put it in there. It's on my Instagram. But with the update, it changed that trail drag going downhill, which was priceless and enjoyable. Well, most people are loving the GT upgrade or firmware update. It's worth putting on. You're going to enjoy it. Just be mindful that pushback is no longer what it once was feeling like, so approach top speeds gingerly.